Every time you pull out the vacuum cleaner, your dog loses it. Running, hiding, barking like the world is ending. But here's what almost no one tells you. Your dog isn't being dramatic. They're genuinely terrified. And the reason why goes much deeper than you think. To understand why your dog reacts so violently to the vacuum cleaner, you first have to understand something most owners never think about. The way your dog experiences sound is fundamentally different from the way you do. Humans can hear sounds in a frequency range of roughly 20 to 20,000 Hz. That's already a pretty wide window. But dogs? Dogs can hear sounds up to 65,000 Hz, nearly 3 times the upper limit of human hearing. Which means your dog is living in a completely different acoustic world than you are. One that is richer, louder, and far more intense. Now think about what a vacuum cleaner actually sounds like. To you it's a low, steady drone. A little annoying maybe, but manageable. To your dog, that same machine is producing a layered wall of noise. A combination of low rumbling frequencies from the motor, high-pitched whining from the suction mechanism, sharp crackling sounds as debris gets pulled through the tube, and erratic bursts of unpredictable sound whenever the head shifts across the floor. Your dog isn't hearing a vacuum. Your dog is hearing something closer to a mechanical monster, loud, chaotic, and impossible to predict. But it gets worse. Dogs don't just have broader hearing, they have directional hearing that is extraordinarily precise. Their ears can rotate up to 180 degrees, independently of each other, like little satellite dishes scanning for a signal. This means your dog can pinpoint the exact location of a sound with stunning accuracy. And when the vacuum cleaner moves across the room, your dog's brain is tracking that moving wall of noise in real time, calculating its position, calculating whether it's getting closer, calculating whether it poses a threat. Here's the critical detail. The vacuum cleaner never behaves in a predictable pattern. It changes direction, stops, starts again. It gets louder suddenly. From your dog's neurological perspective, this is one of the worst possible combinations. High-intensity noise combined with unpredictable movement. The brain interprets unpredictable threats as more dangerous than predictable ones, because unpredictability means the nervous system can never fully relax. And this isn't just a sensitivity issue. Dogs who have been exposed to vacuum cleaners hundreds of times still often react with the same level of fear. Why? Because the auditory assault doesn't diminish with familiarity the way visual information does. Your dog's ears cannot filter out that sound the way your brain eventually learns to tune it out. Every single time the vacuum turns on, your dog's auditory system gets hit with the full force of that noise. So when your dog runs to the other side of the house and refuses to come back out until you've put the machine away, they're not being stubborn. They're doing exactly what their nervous system is telling them to do. Get as far away from that overwhelming sensory experience as possible. And honestly, given what they're hearing, it's a completely rational response. There's a second layer to this story, and this one is rooted deep in your dog's evolutionary history, stretching back tens of thousands of years before the invention of electricity, let alone household appliances. Dogs evolved from wolves. And while thousands of years of domestication have reshaped their behavior in remarkable ways, the core survival instincts that kept their ancestors alive in the wild are still running quietly in the background of your dog's brain. One of those instincts is the predator detection response. In the wild, survival depends on the ability to instantly recognize and categorize potential threats. Is this thing prey? Is it a predator? Is it neutral? The brain makes this assessment in milliseconds, before conscious thought even has a chance to catch up. And the assessment is based on a very specific set of cues: size, sound, movement, and unpredictability. Now here is where it gets fascinating. The vacuum cleaner triggers almost every single one of those threat detection cues simultaneously. First, size. The vacuum cleaner is large, often as tall as or taller than your dog, especially upright models. To a medium or small-sized dog, this is a genuinely imposing object. Second, sound. As we just established, the noise produced by a vacuum cleaner is overwhelming to a dog's auditory system. And intense, unfamiliar sound is one of the primary indicators that the ancient brain uses to flag something as potentially dangerous. Third, movement. The vacuum cleaner doesn't sit still. It moves toward your dog. It retreats. It approaches from new angles. This kind of movement, advancing, retreating, circling, is exactly how predators move when they're hunting. Not in a straight line. Not predictably. In patterns that keep the prey off balance. Fourth, and perhaps most importantly, the vacuum cleaner does not respond to your dog's signals. When your dog barks, growls, or backs away, a real animal would respond to those social cues. The vacuum cleaner ignores them completely. Keeps moving. Keeps making noise. From your dog's instinctual perspective, this is the behavior of something that does not recognize social boundaries, which is one of the most alarming things a creature can do in the animal kingdom. This is why you'll often see dogs who try to bark the vacuum cleaner into submission, or even try to attack it. They're not being aggressive for no reason. They're engaging in defensive or offensive threat behavior, because their ancient brain has categorized the vacuum as something that needs to be stopped. Some dogs will herd the vacuum, circling it frantically, particularly herding breeds like Border Collies and Australian Shepherds, because their instinct is to control the movement of something unpredictable. Other dogs, particularly those with a more submissive temperament, will simply flee and hide. Both responses are completely legitimate expressions of the same underlying fear. The alarm system deep in your dog's brain firing because it has detected something that looks, sounds, and moves like a threat. And here's the truly important thing to understand. This isn't a training failure. This isn't your dog misbehaving. This is millions of years of survival programming doing exactly what it was designed to do. Your dog's brain was built for a world without vacuum cleaners, and it still hasn't received the update. You might have noticed that not all dogs react to the vacuum cleaner in the same way. Maybe you have two dogs and one of them sprints out of the room the moment you reach for the handle, while the other barely opens one eye from the couch. Or maybe you know someone whose dog seems completely unbothered. Why does one dog panic while another stays calm? The answer involves a combination of genetics, early life experience, and something called sensitization, and understanding these factors can genuinely change how you help your own dog. First, genetics. Different breeds have been selectively bred over centuries for different purposes, and those purposes have shaped their nervous systems in measurable ways. Dogs bred for high alert work, guarding, herding, hunting, tend to have more reactive nervous systems. They're wired to notice changes in their environment and respond quickly. This is enormously useful when you're guarding a flock of sheep or tracking prey through a forest. But in a modern living room, that same heightened reactivity means a dramatically stronger response to unexpected stimuli like the vacuum cleaner. Breeds like German Shepherds, Border Collies, Shetland Sheepdogs, and many terrier breeds are particularly prone to noise sensitivity and vacuum anxiety. Meanwhile, breeds that were developed for calmer, more companionable roles, like Basset Hounds or certain Spaniel lines, often have more measured responses to the same stimulus. This doesn't mean reactive breeds are broken or difficult. It means they were built for a different world, and they need a little more support navigating the modern one. Second, early life experience, specifically what happened during your dog's socialization window. Between roughly 3 and 14 weeks of age, puppies go through a critical period where their brains are actively learning what is normal and what is threatening. Puppies who are exposed to vacuum cleaners during this window, in a calm, positive context, are significantly more likely to grow up treating the machine as a neutral, unremarkable part of life. Puppies who miss that window, whether because of early isolation, rescue circumstances, or simply because no one thought to introduce them to household appliances, often carry the fear into adulthood. And once that fear is established, it tends to stick, because the brain has already filed the vacuum cleaner under the category of threat, and every subsequent encounter reinforces that filing. Third, sensitization. This is perhaps the most overlooked factor. When a dog has a frightening experience with a loud noise, not just the vacuum, but also thunderstorms, fireworks, or even a car backfiring, their nervous system can become more sensitive to loud noises in general. Each frightening experience lowers the threshold for the next one. A dog who was terrified by fireworks last summer may react more strongly to the vacuum cleaner this year than they did the year before, even if nothing else changed. Finally, and this is something many owners don't realize, your own behavior during vacuuming matters enormously. If you've ever felt frustrated, rushed, or anxious while cleaning, your dog picks up on that emotional state through your body language, your breathing patterns, and subtle changes in the way you move. Dogs are exquisitely sensitive to human emotional cues. They've been reading us for thousands of years. If you're tense while vacuuming, your dog's nervous system interprets that tension as further confirmation that something dangerous is happening. This means the emotional environment you create around the vacuum cleaner is just as important as the machine itself. A calm, relaxed owner who moves slowly and deliberately sends a fundamentally different message to their dog than a frazzled owner who rushes through the cleaning with headphones on, oblivious to the panic unfolding in the hallway. So now you understand the real story, the overwhelming sensory experience, the triggered predator instinct, the genetic and developmental factors, and the way your own energy plays into it. The question is, what do you actually do about it? Because understanding is only valuable if it leads somewhere. The good news is that vacuum anxiety is one of the more treatable fears in dogs. It responds beautifully to a technique called systematic desensitization combined with counter-conditioning, which sounds complicated but is actually quite straightforward once you know the steps. The core idea is this. You want to change the emotional association your dog has with the vacuum cleaner. Right now, the vacuum means danger, panic, and sensory overload. Your goal is to gradually, patiently teach your dog's nervous system that the vacuum means something completely different, something good, something safe, something that actually predicts a reward. Here's how you do it. Start with the vacuum cleaner turned off and place somewhere in the room where your dog can see it. Don't turn it on. Don't even touch it. Just let your dog be in the same room as the machine while it sits completely still. If your dog approaches it, reward that curiosity with a calm, quiet good, and a small treat. You're not praising dramatics. You're praising calm investigation. Do this for several days. The goal is for the sight of the vacuum cleaner, without any sound, to stop triggering an automatic stress response. For some dogs, this happens quickly. For others, especially those with deep-seated fear responses, it might take a week or more of daily sessions. Once your dog is genuinely relaxed around the stationary machine, move to the next step, turning it on briefly in another room, while you remain with your dog and feed high-value treats continuously. Not small training treats. We're talking the best thing your dog has ever tasted. Bits of chicken, cheese, whatever makes your dog's eyes light up. The sound of the vacuum running in a distant room should consistently predict the arrival of amazing food. Gradually, over days and weeks, decrease the distance between your dog and the running vacuum. Move it one room closer. Then into the same room but at the far end. Then closer still. At every step, if your dog shows signs of significant stress, ears flat, tail tucked, refusing food, you've moved too fast. Go back a step. There is no timeline here. Patience isn't optional. It's the entire method. Alongside desensitization, there are practical management strategies that make an immediate difference. Before you vacuum, give your dog a long walk or a vigorous play session. A tired dog is a calmer dog. Their nervous system is less primed for reactivity when they've had an outlet for their physical energy. Set up a dedicated safe space for your dog during vacuuming. A room with a comfortable bed, a long-lasting chew, and some background noise like calming music or white noise to buffer the sound. If your dog's fear is severe, if they're unable to eat treats anywhere near the machine, if they injure themselves trying to escape, or if the anxiety generalizes to other areas of their life, please speak to your veterinarian. There are both behavioral and medical support options that can make the desensitization process far more achievable for dogs who are truly overwhelmed. And one final thought. Next time you watch your dog scramble away from the vacuum cleaner, try to hold on to what you now know. That reaction isn't misbehavior. It isn't weakness. It's a deeply intelligent nervous system responding to genuine overwhelm. Your dog trusts you to understand them, and you just took one more step toward doing exactly that. If this helped you understand your dog a little better, hit that subscribe button because every week we dig into the real science behind why your dog does what they do. And if you have a dog who hates the vacuum cleaner, drop their name in the comments below. They deserve to be known. We'll see you in the next one.